Hello, everybody. This is my first attempt at a video. Well, actually, it's a couple attempts in, but hopefully now we're going to be a little bit smoother and able to do this. I'm still not comfortable with the whole concept of this, but it is what it is, and I want to be able to have something for you guys to continue your practice. It's so hard to practice at home, and have someone kind of guiding you along is really a nice thing. I wish someone had made this available to me. So we're going to start by laying down. Make sure you have a strap handy so that you can easily access it when we get to that point. And then you're going to take your time laying down. Remember, don't roll over onto the spine or down onto the spine. Take your time coming onto your side. Take a few moments there, just kind of noticing how you're feeling. Can you start to establish more of a neutral spine by stacking the pelvis, back of the head up? And then just take a couple breaths, bringing more awareness in. And then when you're ready, take your time flipping over. Let the floor begin to guide you here. Any little movements and will allow you to feel more settled with the floor. So what you want to start to establish is your nice neutral spine here. So you want to feel grounded through the feet so you can activate a little bit more. And then you want to start to draw your attention up towards the head. So you want to make sure that your head, that your forehead and your chin are lined up. You don't want to have the chin higher because that's putting compression in the lumbar, or not your lumbar, how about your cervical spine? So if you need to, as you start to try to lengthen the neck here and allowing the chin and forehead to level off. If it doesn't, you want to fold a blanket or a pillow, something underneath the head. The other thing to check is you don't want to have a rib flare. So you're already in a back bend, compression. So whatever you need to do to get the ribs into the body and your forehead and chin level. Then you want to externally rotate the arms. So you're working from the head of the shoulder here. You want to get that external rotation so that palms begin to roll up and you can feel the shoulder blades drawing into the body to support the upper back and the shoulder girdle. Take a couple breaths there. Again, notice the ribs. Can you let the ribs get heavy towards your belly and softly down towards the floor? And then as we start to adjust the lumbar spine and the pelvis, you want to find that place where your rib cage, your hip points, and your pivot bone are nice and level. That's going to create a soft angle to your sacrum, which is this triangular set of bones here that attaches your iliums to each side. So there should be a soft angle here, and your entire spine connects into this space. So it should be softly angled away from the floor, allowing your lumbar spine to be in a soft curve. And then you want to activate the legs enough that you can maintain all of this. So again, just take a few moments listening, feeling, being present. And then we'll start with a diaphragmatic breath. So start to notice if you're getting any movement as you breathe into the belly. Can you inhale and exhale out through your nose? Notice if you're holding the belly in. Can you let it go? Allowing the breath to work with more ease. You want to let that tension go. So the diaphragm that attaches to your low ribs and attaches to your spine has your diaphragm. And that should be moving as you breathe. So as you inhale, it should be moving down into the abdominal cavity to allow the lungs to fill. As you exhale, it should be gently moving back up to let the lungs release the oxygen. So can you start to soften the belly, deepening your breath? Nice, deep diaphragmatic breathing. Can you begin to even the breath out? Now we'll start some small movement just to kind of investigate how we're feeling. So start by softly rocking the head side to side. Starting to feel what sensations that are moving through the neck, through the sides of the neck, across the shoulders, your upper back, working your way down your arms towards your fingertips. And begin to move the head back to center. And then very softly rock across the pelvis as you bring more awareness into your lumbar spine, which is your low back, how you're feeling across the back side of your pelvis, up into the hip joints, working your way down the knees towards the feet. noticing how grounded you may feel with the earth. Then bring the legs back to center. We're going to do a soft warm up for the upper body, or little shoulder shrug. So it's a very small movement, slow and controlled, nothing forced. Just find the ease in every movement we do today. So we'll start with the right side. You're going to gently draw your right shoulder down towards your waist and begin to slowly roll your head towards the left. Paying close attention to the sensations that are occurring through the right side of the neck, across the shoulder, working your way down your arm towards your fingertips. Remember, you can always pause. Do you need to maybe back out a little bit because you've gone too far? Maybe even let the head turn a little bit more, or maybe even tucking the chin down towards the top of the shoulder. All these little micro movements will give you different sensations, working into your tissues differently. So we're getting everything a little bit of movement. And then begin to draw the chin back up, roll the head back to center, and release the right shoulder. Take a couple breaths here, just noticing. Has anything changed since you've laid down? Is your right side feeling a little different than the left side? I'm feeling more open and grounded. I even feel like that breath is moving easier through the left side, but what you're feeling may be very different. So the big thing is you don't want to create pain in any of the movements that we're doing. So as small as you need to make these, just so you're starting to get better movement in your body. So now we'll shift to the left side. So gently draw your left shoulder down and then begin slowly rolling your head towards the right. And paying attention this time to the left side of the neck, working across the shoulder, down the arm to the fingers. Pause when you need to. Breathe into the sensation, becoming more aware. The teacher is within you if you listen to your body. Maybe roll the head a little bit more. Maybe tuck your chin. Draw the chin back up. Roll your head back to center. And release your left shoulder. You can take a couple moments as you reconnect in, feeling the breath, noticing changes. And then we'll add on to the movement here a little bit. We're going to start to wiggle the fingers of both of our hands. Maybe opening and closing the hand as you get a little more movement into your hands, warming them up, especially if you have a little bit of arthritis. Then you work into the wrists, little rotations, maybe rotating all the way up into the elbows. How would it feel if you start to rotate all the way up to the head of the shoulder? Remember, your arm works in unison based on how you're rotating the head of the humerus in the shoulder joint. It shouldn't be coming from the movement of your elbow or your wrist. It should all be working together. And then maybe bringing the arms in a few different planes as you get a little more movement into the upper body. Also bringing awareness to when you move. Is it causing you to shorten? Is it causing a pull, any discomfort? So only working where it feels good for you. Let's take a couple more breaths. And then begin to release the arms comfortably back down by your side. As you take a few breaths, resettling, we're going to begin to release the legs in towards your chest. This will shut your core down here. You can let the back gently release downward. Legs get heavy into the hip joints. If you're feeling like the legs don't want to draw in, they're kind of pulling away from your body, slide your hands behind the thighs. Just a little bit of support here. Make sure you let the shoulders relax back down into the floor. Feet are a little bit heavy. Breathing down into your low back. Then if you like, a little gentle rocking side to side. So these should be pretty small motions. You don't want to be throwing yourself around. You want just soft movement that you're controlling from your deep center. And maybe little circles around the pelvis. Slowing it down and changing your direction. And then begin to come back to center. We're going to keep the right leg drawn in as you place the left foot to the floor with the knee bent. Then press into that left foot as you maybe draw the right leg a little more closely into the body to create more length into the low back. Can you continue to breathe into your low back? Making sure there's no compression into the hip joint. It should feel soft and easy, allowing the breath to move. And then we'll transition into the asymmetrical bound angle. So you can soften the hold on your right leg. Let it externally rotate, gently drawing it upward. Maybe dropping the back of the right arm down to the floor to give you a little bit of support. And then we'll activate a little bit more through that left leg down into the foot as you begin to flex your foot. Begin to externally rotate the leg open towards the left. Again, noticing the sensation to the inner lines of your legs into the low back. You maintain more of a neutral spine, and then maybe start some little micro changes here. How you're working with the right leg in the hip joint or the positioning of the left leg on the floor. Any little change you make is going to create a little different stretch sensation, a little bit different opening of the body. So again, always thinking about integrity of the body in your movement, not force. It's not about how open your legs go. It's about what feels good. Are you still able to breathe? Are you pain-free? Those are the things you need to be thinking about. And then take your time again to rotate back in on that left leg, rotate back in on the right leg. Now relax that right leg down into your hands, soften the foot. And then we're going to begin to wiggle the toes. A little pointing and flexing. Maybe some circles around your ankle. You may even feel a little bit of movement of your calf muscles on your hand, which means you're getting a little bit of movement at your knee joint, which is a good thing. Changing your direction. Bring that leg back to center. Now, create a little bit of resistance here so you reestablish your neutral spine. Remember, that's that soft low back curve. You can start to extend that left leg out along the floor. So we start with a little bit of hip extension. Again, you want to stay neutral. If you've lost neutral, bring your foot back to the floor with the knee bent. So it's about working where your body needs you to work. So you're strengthening into your neutral spine. The spinal muscles tend to not be very strong. We tend to have posture issues. So as we're starting to establish that more neutral spine, the muscles are going to get fatigued, maybe a little crabby. So it's about maintaining neutral and breathing. Now take your time here. We're going to start to rotate the right leg open to the right. Begin to draw it back to center. Left hand gently draws across the leg. Right arm can open out to the side. Create some nice resistance of your right leg into your left hand as you gently draw across the midline. Just taking your time going from side to side. Remember, it's a ball and socket joint. So you can create some different rotations, but always think about the integrity of your core. That's your neutral spine. Now, next time you're heading across the midline, if you'd like to go into the twist, take your time. Resist your right leg into your left hand. Right arm opens out to the side. Now, hug your thighs towards each other so you're leveling off your pelvis. Then using your core, gently revolve towards the left. You want to stay grounded through the shoulder girdles. And you want to make sure that you're nice and stacked across the pelvis so that you're even. It may not be stacked right on top of each other. But you shouldn't be shortening into either side bodies. There should be no pain sensations. Making sure you can breathe, full breaths. Now take your time. Use your core to rotate back onto your spine. Resettle your neutral. Right hand goes back behind the leg to create a little bit of support. Left foot comes back to the floor, and then draw left leg in. Let the back lengthen, maybe hands behind the thighs, a little bit of rocking here, circles. Again, being aware of what's changed in your body with these small movements we're doing. Now we'll shift the focus to the left side. So keeping the left hand behind the leg, create a little resistance so you can establish your neutral spine. And then very mindfully, you're going to place your right foot to the floor with the knee bent. Press into that right foot, gently draw left leg a little closer into the body, allowing the low back to draw down into the floor, lengthening into that space. Making sure you can breathe into your belly. We'll now transition to the asymmetrical bound angle. So soften the hold on your left leg, let it externally rotate, gently draw it upward. Maybe dropping the back of the arm down towards the floor for a little support. And then when you're ready, nice activity into that right leg, nice flex to the foot. Inner line begins to guide the leg open to the right. And now draw your attention to the inner lines of your legs and your low back. Are you neutral? And how does the sensations feel through the inner lines of the legs? Do you want to make little micro changes? Little rotations of the left femur and the hip joint, or how you're positioning the right leg on the floor. Just noticing your movement. Can you pure movement of how you're working from the hip joints? Take a couple more breaths, then begin to rotate back in on your right leg, rotate back in on the left. Relax the left leg down into your hand, relax the foot, and you can begin to wiggle your toes. A little pointing and flexing, some circling around your ankles, you spread your toes out, changing your direction. Relax back into the left leg, create a little resistance as you start to extend your right leg out along the floor. Take a couple breaths there. And then when you're ready, we're going to gently guide the leg open to the left. Bringing it back to center, resist your left leg into your right hand as you gently draw the leg across the midline. Again, how quiet can you stay through your core? What's touching the floor as you're just articulating the femur within the hip joint to create some movement here? Next time you're heading across the midline, if you'd like to go into that twist, strongly resist your left leg into your hand, opening your left arm out to the side, and then using your core, hug those thighs towards each other. Begin to gently rotate towards the right. Remember, shoulders stay grounded with the earth. Pelvis is stacking, so you're staying nice and neutral to the spine as you come into an easy twist to deepen the stretch around the left side of the pelvis into the glutes. Now take your time. Use your core to rotate back onto the spine. Reset your neutral. Left hand goes back behind the leg. And then mindfully, right foot comes back to the floor. And then draw right leg in. Again, arms can rest or hands can go behind the thighs. What feels good here as you begin a little rocking or circling. And then we'll come into a child's pose on our back. So you can begin to draw your arms to the inner lines of your legs. Resist your legs up into the arms as you begin to resist opening the hips out to the side. When you get to a comfortable stretch, relax the shoulders down into the floor, but keep that little bit of resistance of legs into your hands as you might get a little deeper stretch deep into the groin area and the inner lines of your legs. And then we'll move into the lazy frog. So let your legs begin to travel away from your body, sliding your hands somewhere into the knee creases or along the thighs. Resisting legs up into your hands, let the feet get a little heavy towards the floor. And then if you'd like, you can gently pedal the legs. Again, remember, this is a femur movement. So how are you articulating your femurs in the hip joint? It's not about how you're moving at the knee or the ankle. Just let that lower leg relax as you direct the movement from the femurs within the hip joint. This should feel good. This is one of my favorites. And then begin to work your way back to center. Take a couple breaths. Then begin to slowly close the legs. And then we're mindfully going to bring the feet back to the floor with the knees bent. Take a moment to reestablish neutral. And you want to locate your strap. I'm going to open it up and lay it across my belly. That way I know where it is. And we're going to come into the cross leg stretch, or the figure four, as we move into the hamstring work for today. So as you establish your neutral, begin to press into the left foot to free the right leg up so you can externally rotate as you begin to cross your ankle across your thigh. Now, as you resist your ankle to thigh, you may want to do some small little investigative motions here as you pay more attention to the right outer leg, deep into the glute. You can steer into some small twists, maybe little circles. Or would you like to add load by sliding that left foot closer in, maybe just pulling the heel away, or resisting that left leg in, right hip open. And again, little small movements, deepening into the stretch. Micro movements change the sensation, nourishing the tissues, getting better movement for your body, or movement of your breath. Take a couple more breaths. And then make sure you get that left leg planted, settle neutral, and then you can take your strap loosely. So you can send a soft loop down to try to catch your foot. It may take a couple tries. And then slide the strap up to the ball mound of the foot. Resist foot to strap as you internally rotate the leg. You want to line it up like it's a chair leg for chair pose. So your hip point, your knee, your center of your foot should be lined up. Thigh is angled in. Foot is resisting up into the strap towards the ceiling. Take a couple breaths and press firmly into the left foot as you begin to resist the straightening of the right leg. I'm a little tight, so I'm going to make it very small to start. So the motion is you're moving the femur to move the joint. So we're not just popping knee, we're resisting. So imagine I'm gluing my foot into the ceiling and I'm just moving my femur gently in and back with resistance. Make sure you've relaxed into the shoulders. So the legs is not being held by the arms or the strap. We're just creating resistance. So make sure you're holding the strap comfortably. Next time that leg is towards straight, is it feeling okay holding it up? Again, this is all about neutral spine in order to access the hamstrings. So you can stay here with the foot on the floor with the knee bent or actively extend your left leg out along the floor. So you want to maintain the neutral spine. So mountain spine would be neutral spine. So find mountain here. Press your foot more firmly up to the ceiling. You want to get some openness at the hip joint as you begin to internally and externally rotate your femur in the hip joint. In the beginning, this is not easy. You may not get any movement, but over time, your brain starts to learn new tricks as you learn to access your body better. So just taking your time. It's not a knee movement or an ankle movement or a foot movement. Your lower leg is following what your femur is doing within the hip joint. Now, as you bring your leg back to center, we're going to open up that outer line of the leg a little bit more. So strap-ins will shift over to your left hand. Right arm opens comfortably out to the side. Remember, wherever it is that there's no pain and you can maintain neutral. Now, resist foot into the strap. You're going to be hugging your thighs towards each other as you key into the outer line of the leg to begin to draw the leg across the midline. I love kind of coming and going with some small little rotations, kind of like what we just did, but adding that movement across the midline. So kind of warming up those muscles, especially that outer hip gets very tight. And then easing into this. So just again creating resistance of your foot into the strap. Now, if this is all feeling good, you're still neutral. Hug your thighs towards each other as you begin to rotate over to the left, stacking the pelvis. I got a little close to the wall here, so I'm not going to go very far. If you do hit the wall, don't let the leg just hang onto the wall. Just use it for some resistance. Again, shoulders are grounded, heart is open. Can you breathe into both of your side bodies? Now, as you inhale, take your time, use your core to rotate back onto your spine, reset your neutral. Outer line of the leg will carry the leg back up. Now we'll work the inner line of the leg. So strap-ins will shift over to the right hand. Left arm opens comfortably out to the side. Hug thighs towards each other. Little bit of external rotation. Inner line of the leg begins to open the leg out to the right. Again, I'm going to start nice and small so I can really isolate the movement within my hip joint. I don't want my back assisting here. It's really easy to get pulled away from the left side, but you want to stay grounded. So easing in, coming and going. Remember, anytime you start to fatigue, come back up. Either come back just bringing that left foot back to the floor with the knee bent. You can rest in cross leg, or you can take a complete break. Be where you need to be. You can't force your strengthening here. It takes time for your body to strengthen to create these movements in a better way. Take a couple more breaths and make sure you're in a comfortable rotation. Strongly resist foot to strap. Let the inner line of the leg carry the leg back up and rotate back to neutral. So if you'd like to continue on here for a little more strengthening, slide the strap off the foot. How does it feel holding the leg up? If it feels good here, begin to point and flex. This will give you a little more stretch in the front line of the leg on your point, and the back line of the leg as you flex. Easy motion, neutral spine. Are you breathing? If none of those things are occurring, it's time to take a break. So once you bring that leg back to center here, organize it, settle that neutral, reach out through the right heel, controlling the descent of the leg down to the floor. If you're only feeling it in the thigh, the upper thigh, you need to take a break. You don't want your upper thigh doing all the work. You need to get stronger through your entire body to find ease here. So it just takes time. Honor yourself. And once that right leg gets down, you can keep your left foot on the floor with the knee bent or actively extend it out. And then we're going to take some recovery breaths here. So as you maintain neutral, let your legs rotate open, soften into your feet. Take those nice deep recovery breaths. Breathing deep into the belly, maybe even gently rocking the femurs in and out. Again, it's not a knee or an ankle movement. It's how the femurs are moving. Everything else follows. Now take your time here. Flex your feet. Rotate your legs back to neutral. Reestablish your mountain. And then we're bringing the feet back to the floor with the knees bent. So firmly press down to the right leg to get your core working a little bit more. As you bring your left foot back to the floor with the knee bent. Press to the left foot to begin to draw right leg back to the floor with the knee bent. Take a couple breaths, a little soft rocking, softening this entire space. It had to work very hard with what we just did. So as you come back through center, we'll do that same sequence now on the left side. So as you settle back into neutral, any little small movements that allow you to establish that, then you can press into that right foot to free the left leg up to externally rotate, crossing your ankle over your thigh. Create your little resistance here as you do a little rocking side to side. Maybe steer into some small twists. Again, maintaining evenness. You don't want to be throwing the pelvis or your low back around. Just thoughtful movement here. Would you like to add some additional load by sliding that right foot closer in, maybe just pulling the heel away, or actively drawing right leg in, left hip open? You want to do a little rocking, a little circling? Do you want to resist legs in more firmly? Are you still breathing? Always coming back to the breath. That is your home. Breath allows you to learn your body more and allows you to stay present so your mind is not wandering. Take a couple more breaths. And then very thoughtfully begin to release that right foot back to the floor. Take a couple breaths and then you can relocate your strap. Make a loose little hold on it. So you can send it down to catch the foot. Once you catch it, remember, it's not always the first try, but you want to be quiet through your mountain. You don't want to disrupt the mountain. And once you get it up the ball mountain, the foot creates some resistance. You can internally rotate the leg as you begin to line this leg up into a chair leg. So remember, hip point, knee, center of your foot. Soft bend to the knee, resisting foot into the ceiling. Reestablish a neutral spine, then resist that first straightening. I'm pretty tight, so I'm going to make it really small here for a couple moments. So kind of ease into the back line. Remember, your arm and the strap are not holding the leg. Your body is holding itself. You're creating resistance to deepen. Remember, it's about how the femur moves, not how you bend your knee. The movement of the femur creates the movement of the joint. You don't want to force the leg straight if that flattens your low back. You want to stay neutral. Next time that leg is towards straight, is it feeling okay holding it up? If it is, you can slide that right leg out along the floor or actively begin to extend the leg out. Establish your mountain pose here. Press your foot more firmly up into the ceiling as you begin to internally and externally rotate the femur and the hip joint. Now bring your leg back to neutral. We're going to go across the midline. So strap-ins are going to shift over to your right hand, left arm out to the side. Hug your thighs towards each other. Outer line begins to guide across the midline. Again, I'm going to come and go a little bit.
as I kind of ease in, and also brings more awareness to where my movements are coming from. Your core should be quiet, so your mountain should be very quiet. And then once you're comfortable, gently guiding the leg across. If that outer line of the leg starts to release and you feel comfortable and there's no back sensations today, hug your thighs towards each other as you use your core to gently twist open towards the right. Keeping the pelvis stacking, shoulder girdle grounded, heart is open. Breathing into this easy twist. Now take your time. Use your core to rotate back onto the spine. Reset your neutral. Then with resistance, outer line will carry the leg back up. And then we'll start to open the leg out to the left. So right arm comfortably out to the side. Strongly resist foot to strap. A little external rotation. Let the inner line gently guide here. I'm going to come and go a little bit as I kind of warm up my movement and bringing more awareness to where else I may be compensating. Can I keep my core quiet? Quiet spine. And again, I'm too close to the fireplace here. So I'm just going to resist my foot into the wall here, the fireplace here. Working that inner line of the leg. Remember, you want to be grounded through the opposite side. You don't want to go into any twists. I like to visualize that I'm standing up doing this, so I'm using more of my body to create better integrity in my movement. But don't force anything here and make sure you can breathe. Now add an inhalation, comfortable rotation, strongly resist the leg back up from the inner line, and then rotate back to neutral. Then slide the strap off the foot. If it's feeling okay holding the leg up, begin to point and flex as you get more movement and sensation. Back line of the leg on your flex. Front leg as you point. Again, neutral. Pay close attention to your breathing and your spine. Always rest when you need to. On that next point, begin to circle around your ankle, spreading your toes. I don't think we did this on the other side, but that's okay. You're not there to correct me. I missed that. Now bring your leg back to center. If you want to challenge your core further, reestablish neutral. Organize this left leg. Reach out through the heel, controlling the descent. Remember, you don't want your hip flexors doing all the work. Really resisting. Imagine you're pushing your heel into the wall that's away, the opposite you. Once the leg gets down, little recovery breaths here. So active core. Let your legs externally rotate. Soften into the feet. Deep recovery breaths. Breathing into the belly, across the pelvis, upper thighs. Maybe wiggling toes, maybe a little internal external rotation. Take a couple more breaths. Then flex the feet. Rotate your legs back to neutral. Press down to the left leg to bring your right foot back to the floor. Press with the right foot to take your left foot back to the floor. Take a couple breaths. Maybe a little soft rocking, one of my favorites, because again, I want to soften the space. I've had to work very hard to create those movements. And then we'll come into the full bound angle. So begin to draw the inner edges of your feet into each other, outer edges into the floor. Take a couple deep breaths. Inner line of the leg begins to draw the legs open. So it's not about the knees getting to the floor. It's about how do your femurs rotate around your hip joint, allowing you to maintain your neutral. You want to make sure you're not hanging your ankle down into the floor. So a little bit more activity. You want to be lining up your leg joints, all those bones. Nice deep breaths. Take a couple more breaths. And then you can begin to draw the legs back together. Feet come back to the floor. Take a couple nice deep breaths. And then we're going to prepare for final relaxation. So take a few breaths here. Noticing how you feel. Are there any other little small movements that you need? You need a little support underneath your head. So you can keep your feet on the floor with the knees bent. You can begin to draw the knees towards each other, maybe walking the lower leg a little further away for constructive rest. You can start to extend your legs out along the floor, but remember, you want to be neutral. So do you need to place a little rolled blanket underneath your thighs? Do you need to keep your legs more active because you start to lose your neutral? This is strengthening. You can also relax the legs open a little bit, but you don't want to lose your integrity here. And then as you feel your connection to the earth, let yourself soften downward, feeling supported, grounded. Then begin to release your thoughts. Turn inward to your breath, just following the in and out of the breath as you take this time to just be for a couple minutes, quieting the mind, learning to follow the breath, which is the easiest form of meditation. So you can just feel the rise and the fall of the belly. Connect to the pause where everything's quiet for a few moments and just notice how your breath returns on its own. You begin to notice when you start to think about other things. Let those thoughts go. Come back to the breath. Take a few more nice deep breaths. If you would like to stay longer, you can just hit the pause button and stay as long as you'd like in final relaxation. And then when you're ready to come back, restart the video so that you can then come up to sitting. So when you're ready, begin wiggling your fingers and your toes, a little more awareness into the body. And very thoughtfully begin to draw the feet back to the floor with the knees bent, taking a few breaths there. And then you can begin to ease your way to whatever side is more comfortable for you. Take a few moments, stack yourself up. Visualize you're sitting in a chair sideways. So legs are stacked, pelvis is stacked. You don't want your belly, your side body on the floor. You want to stack the hips, backing your head up into your bottom arm. Take a few breaths. And then when you're ready, begin to press your top hand towards the floor. Top leg eases away, gently levering yourself back up. Take a few moments to come back to sitting. What do you need to sit on? Legs are comfortable, so it doesn't have to be in a cross-legged position. I like to use my dome. Take a few moments, stack up your big bones, backing the head up. Head, shoulders, ribs, right over the pelvis. Legs are active enough with that hug in through the thighs, resisted in, pressing out through the feet. Feeling yourself sit up on your sit bones, feeling grounded, finding ease in sitting. You can just let your arms rest on your lap comfortably, or you can bring your fingertips to the floor by your hips. As you inhale, begin to spiral the arms open. Easing overhead, drawing energy into the body. Exhaling, releasing any negativity with the exhalation of the breath. Inhale, arms up. Breathing in energy. Exhaling out any negativity. Last time, inhale, arms up. Bringing fingertips or palms together, begin to exhale your hands down to your heart center. Namaste. Thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely day. It's nice being with you. Bye.